The daily literature's lovers, literatures originate from the Latin words litera, meaning letter, encompasses written or spoken words that reflects imagination, emotion, and ideas. There are two forms of literature, poetry and prose. Each shape has fiction or non-fiction. Fiction transfers us to imagine worlds, while non-fiction captures real-life moments. There are different types of poetry, the same as prose. Poetry includes narrative, which tells story, dramatic, full of emotion, dialogue, and lyrics for expressing one emotion. Prose reflects natural speech found in stories, essay, and reports. For its elements in literature, it should be settings, character, conflict, and theme drive the plot through 5 stages. Exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Poetry adds depth with the rhyme and imaginary. Literature is a mirror to society, preserving culture, values, and sparkling new ideas across generations.
The pre-colonial period began to be recorded in 1521. This was before the arrival of Spanish colonizers. During these times, Filipinos were rich in folk speeches, folk songs, narratives, and rituals with dances that affirmed our ties with other Southeast Asian neighbors, including the belief in spirits and supernatural entities called animism. In this period, we don't have a proper education. We only learn by imitation and practices, with the economic and political dimensions involved in trading, marriage, feasting, and alliance.
Moving on with our literature, long before the Spanish set foot on our shores, early Filipinos were already telling their stories through a rich oral tradition. Epics like Biyag ni Lamang, mythical tales, riddles, proverbs, and songs originating from dialects like Tagalog, Cebuano, and Ilocano, and it is written in Baybayin, an ancient script cited in Pedro Carino's 16th century work which reflects their beliefs, values, and way of life. These literary forms passed down through chants, rituals, and community gatherings weren't just for entertainment. They were powerful tools for preserving culture, teaching lessons, and understanding the world.
Some of the pre-colonial literatures include epics, which told heroic adventures, myth, which explained the mysteries of nature, and folktales, which passed on moral lessons. Folk songs like Oyagi and Kumintang expressed emotions in everyday life, while proverbs, riddles, and tanaga shared wisdom and creativity. These works were performed during gatherings and preserved through generations, not written but spoken. Though the authors remain unknown, their stories live on as a powerful symbols of Filipinos' identity and heritage.
Next, let's dive into the Spanish colonial period from 1565 to 1896. It divided into the early Spanish period and the later part or revolutionary period. Literature flourished in Spanish, Tagalog, and the vernacular form of languages. Early works were religious and metrical, with the xylographic press brought by the Dominicans, Ladinos, or native Spanish speakers, like Francisco Baltasar and Leona Florentino, helped shape Filipino drama and poetry. Later, revolutionary voices like Jose Rizal and Andres Bonifacio emerged as publications like Diario Tagalog and La Solidaridad. Next, the American period is divided into the period of apprenticeship and emergence. The surrender of President Aguinaldo signified the end of the military struggle for independence. Despite preferring Spanish at first, Filipino writers gradually embraced English. Education flourished and short stories bloomed, with authors like Juan Silaya and Zoilo Galang. Lastly, the Japanese colonial period, with Quezon and Osmeña immediately leaving the Philippines. The dimension of Philippine literature are writing versions where the Tagalog and local language are allowed, and no freedom of speech and the press. Some notable writers are Carlos P. Romulo and Narciso Reyes.
The development of Philippine literature during the post-colonial period, which began in July 4, 1946 and continues to this day. After World War II, the Philippines finally achieved independence from American rule and saw a rapid shift in leadership. In 1972, President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law, silencing media, suspending civil rights, and jailing critics. Resistance rose up through underground literature, human rights abuses, and corruption spread. His regime ended in 1986 through the peaceful EDSA revolution, restoring democracy under Corazon Aquino. During the post-colonial period, Filipino identity and nationalism grew stronger, shaping literary themes focused on independence and national consciousness. Literature explored war, politics, everyday Filipino life, key literary figures of post-colonial era. Macario Pineda's Ginto sa Makiling tackled moral and social issues in Tagalog. Nick Joaquin's The Woman Who Had Two Navels explored culture, memory, and identity through English. In summary, the post-colonial period gave rise to new voices in Philippine literature. Writers became bolder, more expressive, and more nationalistic. They wrote not just to tell stories, but to reflect society, inspire change, and preserve the Filipino soul through literature.
And lastly, the regional literature and authors in the Philippines. Let's wrap up our journey through Philippine literature by exploring how technology helps us access and appreciate 21st century works from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. In Luzon, we find powerful Tagalog literature from writers like Luwalhati Torres Bautista with her works Dekada 60 at Bata Bata Paano Ka Ginawa. Visayas showcases epic poetry and romance with award-winning voices like Peter Solis Neri and his works Lirio and Buyong. And in Mindanao, rich oral traditions live on through writers like Mirna Peña Reyes, highlighting diverse cultures often overlooked in mainstream literature.